Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the HR Live Conversations. My name is Andrew, and tonight I have with me Mr. Daniel Francis, all the way out of Trinidad and Tobago. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight we will be looking at personal development and the millennial mindset. So, we have a lovely, lovely program lined up for you tonight. So, please, if you've joined us, please shout out, let us know that you're here. If you have any questions, again, Mr. Francis will be here to answer all of the questions that you have. Anything relating to personal development, anything relating to the millennial mind, and there are a lot of the Kush Queen. Oh, you're early. Welcome, 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 welcome. So again, I'm just going to start off by asking Mr. Francis, just to talk to us and tell us a little bit about himself before we delve into the questions that we have. Go ahead, Mr. Francis.
Sure. Yeah. Right. So, thanks for that great introduction. So, my name is Daniel Francis. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. I am a recent first-time author of a book called The Millennial Mind. So, that's what he was speaking about. Basically, it's a self-help book that's tailored specifically for the millennial generation. And I would say the millennials is roughly around, let's say, like 23 to about 39. I like to give it like a plus or minus 2, so I could almost say 20 to 40, but I don't know, I might get in trouble if I say that, but just giving that disclaimer.
Yes.
Outside of that, before I wrote this book, and I currently still am a personal development coach, so I help persons with management, planning, setting their goals, just achieving the things they want to achieve in the future. And I am an entrepreneur, so I do a whole bunch of other stuff. I do event planning. I hosted a show on a digital network. I basically just try to put my foot in everything that deals with more or less youth development, or telling someone's story of their movement from point A to point B. So that's basically a rough draft of who I am and what I do.
Okay, awesome. Good. Excellent, excellent. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's topic is the millennial personal development and the millennial mind. So, we're going to be breaking that down so that our viewers can understand. And again, if you have any questions, those who are joining, please share your questions, your comments, so that we can have those answered. There's usually a self what you call it now, people would come up with their own definition of personal development, but
right.
you as a coach, I want you to kickstart the conversation by simply just explaining to us and the viewers what is personal development.
Yeah, personal development to me is like those foundational pillars that help you get to whatever your idea of success is. It's almost like creating a life strategy. So there are different layers to what you can do to develop a personal development. There's time management, there's understanding what your purpose is, your passion is, there's goal setting, there's building different habits that help you stay on track with different things, whether it be reading daily, getting up early and having a morning routine, meditating, all these different aspects of habits that help you towards your goal. Even within that, just understanding that what it is you want from the short term and then understanding what you want from the long term. So for me, personal development is everything. You could have all the potential in the world, could be really talented, really smart, really intelligent, but if you don't have a certain level of personal development, you'll find that you are very much stuck. You're not getting where you want to go as fast as you want to get there, or you might find that your life is just very disorganized, or you feel very anxious, and that comes from not understanding or not having a certain pillar of your personal development that's developed enough to help you get to that point, and especially when it comes to millennials, we have our own special issues that are really kind of railroading us when it comes to like, we want to get to this point, but somehow we're fighting ourselves internally. We can't see it, so we don't exactly know how to tame it, And I can say that because I fought over myself for like years, and then suddenly when I saw personal development, I realized, okay, this is what I was lacking. And that just helped me to stay super focused and got me to where I am today.
Okay, awesome. So if you're a millennial and you're joining us, I see a lot of them slowly but surely joining. Just comment, let us know that you're here, that you are a millennial. Awesome, thank you. I love that definition, and we're going to delve a little bit deeper into some areas that you mentioned.
Mhm.
So, if how do you help your clients? Let's talk about that before we delve deeper. How do you help a client? If somebody comes to you and say, "Hey, my life is in shambles. I have a degree. I don't know what to do." How do you help that person?
Yeah. First, I want to work out a prescription for them, and that starts with just having a simple evaluation because everybody's different. We're all in different stages in our lives. We all have
Yeah.
different things that we're struggling with. So I ask a host of questions. I ask, do you know what your goals are? Do you write them down? Are they all in your head? How are you with time management? How are you with energy management? The things that you would have achieved last year, did you measure them? Did you track them? What are the things you want to achieve this year? Are you tracking them? I just ask the different questions that fit into the different boxes for the different areas of personal development. And typically, when I start asking those questions and you see the negative answers, it just already kind of pinpoints to me what are the areas that clearly they need some help in. The typical
Yeah.
one that we get, especially when it comes to millennials, is they don't, time management is typically a little bit horrible. There's a
Yeah.
lack of purpose. And really, when it comes to that lack of purpose, it's very hard to do anything because you don't know what you should be doing. You don't know how much time to put into anything because you don't know what your purpose is, right? And then that affects everything else, like setting goals, what you're going to do to your day to day, all these things, which can just create all this anxiety. So once I get that evaluation down, I set a prescription. I'm like, hey, this is the things I think that you need help with. This is how I can help you through it. And then, the ball is in their park and we decide how they want to move forward. So, my model before was, one-on-one sessions. But, with COVID, can't really meet with persons. So
Exactly. Yes.
it's evolved, and we all have to evolve and adapt. So we all doing this virtual thing, and even COVID has made me as a person evolve in that I'm working out different sides of my business to put things more digital. So if you need help with a specific area, you can just go on the site, click that, and then you get like a time management helper. As opposed to, sometimes people don't really need the face-to-face, they don't need the one-on-one, they just need
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
they need to put it into practical work for themselves. And if they need extra, they can always come to me. So that's usually the starting point when I meet with a client.
Awesome. The Kush Queen is saying energy management. That sounds interesting.
Yeah. So
Let's talk a little bit about that.
I love to bring up energy management because I don't think it's given enough attention. We always talk about
Yes.
time management. We always talk about time management, but energy management is a big part of time management. If yes, you can know what you're gonna do, you can know when you're gonna do it, you can time block everything for your day, your week, your month. You can have a great firm grasp on that. But it only becomes reality when you take into consideration the energy that goes into each activity, right? We always start
Yeah.
off sweaty and we say, all right, I'm gonna start planning, I'm gonna do this, have it all planned out, everything's looking very tight. And then we have 3 energy draining tasks, or
Yes.
it is not even 2 o'clock yet, and we are feeling drained, and we still have a
Yes.
whole set of activities left for the day. And then it kind of reloads everything, and we decide, well, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna binge Netflix. I'm gonna go on my phone, and then all of a sudden, all the things that you wanted to get done for the rest of the day, they just don't feel as important, or you don't get them done. And
Yeah.
that makes energy management super important because it could really be the difference between you actually doing what you say you're gonna do that's on your schedule, and you just saying,
Exactly.
well, I do the first 3, I could just go and chill, right? So it's not just time management. You have to have a grasp on that energy management. And the beautiful thing about it is that when you start doing this, You start writing down what you're gonna do and when you're gonna do it. You can start reviewing. So if last week you had all these things back to back and you didn't get them done, but you have it written down, you can see it. So now in the new week, you say, all right, I know what didn't work last week. I know what tired me out. I knew what took longer and really drained me. I knew what revitalized me. And you can now create your schedule in a way that works for what you're trying to do, as opposed to just being mechanical. Right? So that's energy management and the power of it.
Awesome. You know, I think I've heard, but not very often, about this energy management. So it's very interesting because I can testify that if I didn't have like clients who I need to deliver or close some projects with, I probably would have been in the bed or out doing something. You know, so it's so interesting that as part of personal development, you have to really manage your energy. And I really, really love that because it's critically important if we're going to be achieving or goals. I see Joni. Joni Gay is here. Welcome, Joni. Joni says good explanation of energy management.
Thank you.
So welcome, Joni. Awesome, awesome. We love it. Keitha is here. Good night, Keitha. Welcome. We haven't seen you in a long time. You might have been silent, but good night. Awesome. So I love that that explanation about energy management. Now, let's know. Go ahead.
That kind of interested me. You know, sometimes we need the urgency to get work done. So you're saying that because you have deadlines, you find that you get the work done. And if we don't have that within our planning, it's very easy to just be kind of lackadaisical and doing everything. So that's another reason why the energy management is important, because when you see everything laid out and then you know how much energy you're going to spend on each, it's easier to now pace yourself, as opposed to you just do whatever comes up because you have to get it done at a specific time. And that's kind of playing into procrastination as well.
Excellent, excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have Daniel Francis, all the way out of Trinidad and Tobago, and we're talking about personal development and the millennial mindset. He's a personal development coach as well as an author. Later on, we'll be talking about his book. So, if you have any questions regarding personal development, especially I'm seeing a lot of HR practitioners here regarding the millennial mind, that's disrupting the workspace. Shoot them over to us so we can get those answered. Awesome. Yes. So we let's now delve into motivation and how important is that to personal development? And while you're answering that question, a lot of times people would invest in a handbag and they'd invest in clothes and so many other things. But when it comes down to investing in themselves, you have to cross the waters and climb hills to sell the value of these services. So after you've answered the first question, how do you now sell the value of personal development to those who are listening?
Right. Well, that first question dealing with motivation, interestingly enough, no matter who the client is or what point they're in, I always start with motivation, because I think that is the most important thing, because you need to understand why you're motivated to get anything done, right? And yes. I really always, when it starts with motivation, I always talk about passion, right? Because passion leads to purpose. Now, I understand that maybe everything that you're doing right now doesn't necessarily align with your purpose or even your passion, because you might be working a job that doesn't align with your passion or what you want to do. But understanding passion is so important, because let's say your greatest passion is that you love playing instruments, and that now aligns with a purpose of educating persons about music or opening a music store eventually, right?
Yes.
Even though you have that, you've now kind of decided that this is what you want, because you know that this is what you're passionate about. So even if it is maybe a job that you don't really like, but every day you're getting that money that you're putting aside towards your dream in the future. And that's how you now use your passion and your purpose to keep you going each day towards one end. And then you're now using your passion, what's motivating you, leading into your purpose to now build your goals, right? What we tend to do is we do this thing where we're just on like a default mode, where we just get up, we work, we spend money, we watch Netflix, we go to the gym, we go home. I mean, all that's changed now because COVID. So some people just get up, work from home, maybe do a home workout and relax whatever they're doing at home, right? But if you understand that you're really passionate about something, you utilize it to stay motivated towards getting things done. Because if you notice, the things that you love to do, you put in the most extraordinary amount of work and effort into. You're paying for courses, you're spending hours practicing it, you're going to the University of YouTube to watch all the videos and learn all the techniques. And nobody's making you do that. Nobody's asking you to do that. You're doing that because you have a passion, right?
Yes, yes.
As opposed to when you're motivated by, let's say, fear or incentive or some external factor, you'll only do so much as far as it gets you to a point where maybe no one will ask a question. So, for instance, if you're motivated by fear in your workplace, right? As soon as your manager is nearby, you start working really hard because you want to look active. You don't want to get in trouble. But
exactly.
As soon as that external factor disappears, you go back to whatever level of effort you were going at, right? But if you had true passion with your work, no one has to push you. No, you want that to be the best it could be, right? And that's why that passion, that motivation, that purpose is so important, right? And now the flip side.
What would you say before you move on? So what would you say to that person now who's listening, who's watching, who struggles constantly with being demotivated? You know, nobody gets up every morning and say, "Oh, wow, it's a beautiful morning." I mean, every single day, nobody does that, right?
Right. I think I see motivation as like a substance that you have to top up on every single day, right? You don't just wake up motivated. You have to fill up your motivation tank, if you want me to say it like that. And there are different ways you can do that, right? And this is something that I stress with clients, even anybody, friend, family. I always tell them, write down your goals, right? Don't keep it up. Don't put it on your laptop. Yes, do that, but actually physically write it down. And then on top of that, see that every day. Because let me tell you, I have hard days. I wake up tired and I don't want to get out of bed. I wake up cranky some days, but I have worked out ways that give me that reminder of why I'm doing what I'm doing. So for instance, I have my goals written on my wall. I have my mission statement written on my goals. I have all the different short-term and long-term goals that I just want to keep in my purview. So when I wake up, that's the first thing I see. That's literally the first thing I see every single day. And it's really hard to be lazy, and it's really hard to procrastinate and to not feel motivated when the future that you want is staring you right in front of your face every single morning. How can you look at that and say, "Nah, I don't care today"? It's right. And these are the tricks you have to do, because your mind is an animal. Was that
Johnny Gay saying sometimes you get that burst of energy right before the deadline. That adrenaline rush drives you to complete the project. So awesome feedback. That's again on energy management. Thank you very, very, very much, Johnny Gay, for that. So the second part of the question is, how do you sell the value of personal development?
I think that's one of my biggest battles in, probably, I can say Trinidad, but I feel like it's in the Caribbean because we don't see, it's very hard to value in personal development because it's not a tangible thing that you can hold and necessarily.
Exactly.
But to me, like, personal development is everything. If you can't, it's very hard to show persons that when you are able to get a handle on your time management, understanding your purpose, setting your goals, building success habits, having an understanding of the people who surround you, what they do and what they say affect you not only in a psychological way, but they literally set the pace for where your life is going to be, right? When you
Exactly.
say these things, it's very hard to form that image of that being a real thing, right? But then it's really easy for them to see these people are doing amazing things, super
Yeah.
successful. And they ask themselves, how do these persons get to this point in their lives? But they will never imagine that it's very simple, boring things that they're doing that are
Yeah.
making the biggest impact. You know, I read a lot of books, right? I have crazy goals like reading a book a week every year. I mean, I get close, but a book a week is pretty tough. But that stems from a simple habit of reading 30 minutes every single day, minimum. You know, when I tell somebody that, they're just like, what is that going to do for me? What is reading? Like 30 minutes a day, I can't see the value. And when I think about stuff like that, I think about people getting a grasp on investing money. When you explain to them compound interest and putting away a little 200 a day, a little 1,000 next week, you know, it sounds boring because it's
Exactly.
not exciting. We want excitement. We want the rush of getting successful in a day or two, but that's not how it
Yeah.
looks. It takes time. You need to develop yourself in order to actually be able to achieve that success that you want. You're not gonna that you in the future that's doing well, that's crushing it. That's
Mhm.
not the
And you know what? Yeah, sorry to cut you. I love that because a lot of times people believe and think that this is a fly-by-night success.
mm,
So I go to my bed tonight, poor as a pauper, as we would say it in Jamaica, and then tomorrow I wake up a billionaire or a millionaire.
it
You know,
doesn't.
but it doesn't work like that. It takes hard work, it takes determination. Sometimes you're going to be so demotivated, you're going to be battered and bruised. And so that's even why it's very important for people to
Mm,
develop themselves from no, from the onset and prepare for the opportunities that are ahead.
yeah.
You know?
I think it's just it's we are just built in a way where we want to see the short term. We want the short term returns. It's the longer that we have to wait for that reward, the less likely we are to stick with it. And that's just human
Yeah.
nature. You want to feel good now. You want to feel like you've gotten that thing now, but it's just been proven in every way that when you build a strategy and a plan and you are consistent over time, give it a 5 years, give it a 10 years, that reward is going to be so much greater than the short-term gain that you want to get. You know, that 30 minutes of reading a day, that's one book every 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So that's what, almost 20 something books in a year. I read 3 books last year out of the 30 books. I think it's 35 books I read last year that changed my entire life. All because I
Wow.
decided I'm going to read 30 minutes a day. And that is one stepping stone that I took towards being successful, all from one small act each day. Now,
Mhm.
when you tell somebody this, it's hard for them to see it. Because they're just saying, well, I want to do the thing that I need to do now that will get me there. And I'm like, you can't.
Exactly.
You just
Doesn't
can't,
work like that.
right? There's this quote, boy, by this guy named Jim Rohn. He's a big guy in personal development and leadership development. And I'm butchering it right now because it's off the top of my head. But basically, what he's saying is that you attract the level of success that you build into yourself. So your level of personal development will really exceed the level of success that you want. So you have to develop yourself as an individual to now be able to attract the success that you want. If you stay at that one level, you're never gonna get the thing that is at a higher level because you're not gonna be able.
I
You're not.
love that.
It's like a video game. You're at level one.
Yeah.
You want to use a level 10 sword. It doesn't work. You have to level up to now be able to use the sword to now be able to fight stronger bosses.
Awesome, awesome. I love it. I love it because again, a lot of times, and especially in this time in COVID, people want to see, they want a job, but they don't want to put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
They want, so the work has got to be there.
Yeah.
I'm loving the conversation. I hope that the viewers and the listeners, you are enjoying the discussion so far. Welcome, Vanessa. Vanessa saying that vision boarding is awesome. It is real. It is a great reminder.
I am all about vision boarding.
Exactly. I see the Kush Queen has a huge comment here. Let me read it. A good support system is crucial in self development. I believe that I can do anything in this world, but I do it faster knowing that someone is there to catch me when I fall. I think that's something a lot of millennials are missing. The family structure in a few may not be as nurturing, especially if you are trying to start a business or so, and the dating millennial experience is a battle of who can show the best, should show the least emotion.
Yeah,
Total madness. Do you agree?
I agree. I think, well, two things there, on the one end about who you surround yourself with. Let's listen. If
Support
you
system, yes.
Yeah, if you don't have that support, if you don't have those people who are there for you and you are there for them, if you don't even have that person who is doing so well that you can use as a kind of pillar to guide you forward, it's gonna be hard.
Yes, yes,
No matter what you're doing inside, it's gonna be hard because you're not gonna have those visions of what could be. You're not gonna have that support system again, as she says, when you have hard times, because hard times do come, right? You
yes,
need those people around you. And then that other side of showing the least emotion, to me, that's a whole social media thing. When it comes to millennials and social media is a powerful, amazing tool, but there's also a dark side to it, and that dark
yes,
side is just about this illusion of looking perfect, this illusion of what you see and what you're consuming is what you have to express. So when she's talking about not showing emotion, that's something that you see on social media about, maybe as a man, you have to be hype, you're very masculine and you can't show emotions and all these different things. You consume that, and then it
yes,
even
yes,
and then that becomes you, and then you now express that outwardly because you think that that's all that you should be showing, if even if
mhm,
maybe your authentic self is expressed in a different way, right? And
mhm.
that social media thing is a whole sector in itself when it comes to millennials, because we're born in a technological age. We're always on our phones. We're always on
Yes,
some device. We don't realize that when we're on these devices, we are feeding off that information. Now, if the information that we're seeing
yes,
is more
yes, yes,
negative, it's more scandalized, it's more portraying a life that isn't real, we're not going to internalize that and then ask ourselves the questions of, well, why isn't my life like this? Why aren't I successful in this way? Why don't I have these things? And this now leads
mhm,
into crisis mode of, maybe I'm about to be 30, and I said by 30 I'm going to have certain things. I'm going to be married, I'm going to have a house, I'm going to own property, all these different things, and you may not be there, but again, everything that you're consuming is showing you that you need to have that. You're not successful if you don't have that. You're not doing things right if you don't have that. And
mhm.
now comes that trauma of, well, I'm not there, crisis mode, anxiety, stress. You're beating up on yourself. You're mentally telling yourself all these horrible things because you believe that somehow, again, when it comes to social media, it's always portraying competition. You want to do better. You see,
Yes, yes,
I'm not doing as good as other people. I'm not there. Like, I must be doing something wrong. And then that can start that negative spiral of that negative self-talk, that beating up of yourself.
yes,
Maybe just going with the flow because you give up on whatever dreams you have. And I think when it comes to us, we the minute we understand that, well, one, we have all the power to change our lives and our future, and two, that by upgrading our external will change.
yes, yes,
Once you have those two things down, you can literally do anything. You can
yes,
literally do anything. Nothing can stop
yes.
you. Nothing.
Hi, Simone. Simone, welcome. Simone Walker is here. Simone is saying, I'm motivated by my cheerleaders and support system who help to boost my confidence. And that's so, so, so important. And I've
Right.
heard the talk or the suggestion constantly that you should always be evaluating your circle, um, and see if there are people there who will motivate you, encourage you, and if your knowledge is greater than theirs, you need to find a new circle. Can
Yeah.
you talk about that? Because
I feel like, I mean, that sounds so harsh. If they don't.
yes,
I think it. we're in the age now, you can have different sectors of friends. You know, you have those friends who are on your level. You have those friends who challenge you. You have those friends who are doing better than you. You can have those mentors who you meet with, you know, bi-weekly or weekly or once a month, to just make sure that you're pushing yourself. To me,
Yes, yes,
I will cut off when it is that you're like a cancer. Everything that comes out of your mouth is negative. You're always complaining. You're always putting me down. If I spend time with you, and when I leave that interaction, I feel lesser. I feel demotivated. I feel like there's a weight on my shoulder. Then that is the type of person I will not keep myself around. I wouldn't
yes,
necessarily friend them, but I just won't give them as much time as I would other persons, because it's
yes.
just been proven that when you surround yourself with people, especially people who are doing better than you,
Mm.
they basically pull you along. Like, if let's say you're unfit and you have 5 friends who are all fit and working out all the time, you'll find that you're more likely to want to work out. Because you want
Exactly.
it's rubbing off in you. What do they call it? They call it a behavioral contagion. That when you have
Hmm.
a certain level of influence, it's going to make you do maybe that positive or that negative thing. It works in the negative as well. So if
Yeah.
it's you and 5 other friends and 4 of them are smokers, you'll find that you're more likely to want to smoke, because that's what you see within your circle of influence. It's
Yeah.
such a psychological thing. So why not use psychology to better yourself, to work to your advantage? And these are the little things that we can overlook, but it has such a lasting effect on us.
Mhm.
So why not make it work for you? You know, I've
Exactly.
like, I'll just go on Instagram, I'll see someone doing amazing things, and I'll be like, wow, I really wanna to get to that level, and I'll just slide in the DMs. I was like, yo, I love what you're doing. This is amazing. I would love to meet with you, just have coffee, sit down and talk, have a Zoom conversation,
Yes.
just so you're like, your greatness kind of rubs off me. I did that all the time, because
Yes.
to have that thirst to want to be better, to attract people who are doing better, or again, you will always just be stuck at this level where you're not satisfied, and you don't want to be there.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to have, you need to have an idea as to where you want to be. I think as we talk about personal development, etc., you have to know where you are now, I think, and where you want to go. You might have a coach who will be there to kind of assist you and help you along the way. But you have to, and once I think you have that, you need to then align yourself with people,
Mm-hmm.
to get you to where you want to go faster. Competition. I want to talk about competition because a lot of times we compete, and we compete so negatively
Yeah,
that it hurts. And I think that's what social media has done.
yeah,
So I usually submit to people a wholesome competition. Don't compete with anybody else. Compete with yourself.
yeah.
You know. And I've seen people saying it's called a wholesome competition. What do you think about that?
I,
Competing with yourself versus others.
I love that wholesome competition. But when you said that, it made me think about. So I have a group right now, right? We are running group, and basically every single month we have a little challenge to see who can run the most miles. Now, the majority of
Yeah.
people in this group are unfit. We don't really like to run, but the healthy competition has us running 80 miles, 90 miles, 100 miles. Now, that's what I call wholesome competition, because every time somebody posts a run, everybody's putting up
Yeah.
five emojis, clap hands. They're like, yeah. I mean, they're beating you, but you're still cheering on, because that's the
Exactly.
competition that you want. What you're getting with social media, and you find with a lot of millennials, and even I am guilty of this, it's a natural type of thing that's happening, is that you see someone post their success, and you get this ugly emotion of jealousy or
Yes.
competition, or why are they doing better than me? But you see, when you get those type of emotions, those type of reactions, those type of little fleeting thoughts hitting your mind, that's, you gotta evacuate that one time, because if you let that grow into more, you're feeding into that monster of
Yes.
negative competition that it's like plaguing a lot of persons, right? You and then the thing is, it's social media doesn't portray what life is really about. It's not a competition. It's not about who's doing better than who. It's about we're all doing our own. We're all on our own journeys. Um,
Yes.
we're not our own.
Simone says, Simone
Well,
Walker saying that we call it bad mind.
bad mind, yeah, it's a real bad mind thing, you know.
That's
And bad
true.
mind poison, that is a poison because you will start focusing so much on other people and wishing them negative, and you know what that's doing to your mind. What that's doing to your,
Yeah,
because we people don't realize that your core, which works outwards, is your mind, your thoughts. So when you fill your mind with these negativities and this anger and this jealousy, it's gonna work its way out to your physical behavior, the tonality of
exactly.
your voice, how you stand up, your confidence, your posture, everything is affected by that. So why
Yeah,
why give that much power to something so negative that's not gonna get you anywhere, not gonna help you achieve anything, you know?
yeah,
And it's it's really such a mental thing. To me, this a lot of this is I call it adulting. It's 90% mental.
mhm,
You have to start up here, keep it positive, and let that be expressed outwardly. The minute you start to let the negativity creep in and have control over you, you start to
yes,
see actions. Is the minute that you, for want of a better way, start losing. You start
yes.
giving up on the future that you should have. And again, no
Mhm,
one wants to be that. No one wants to be that person.
mhm. Awesome, awesome. I'm loving the conversation. I'm loving the conversation. The Kush Queen is saying, I believe the person's mindset has a lot to do with how they perceive a lot of things on social media, you know, that external influence
Yep.
as well. Now, I was going through the internet and I came across your book, and it spoke of commitment phobia,
Yeah.
or alluded to that. Talk to us about, because that stood out to me. A lot, some others stood out, but that one in particular.
Okay.
Millennials have issues with commitment.
You think that
Talk about the commitment phobia.
so I feel like a lot of people hear that and they think it's about relationships, but it's actually not about. Well, I guess it could be, but
Good, yeah.
the commitment phobia and a lot of what I wrote about in the book, it always stems from things that would happen to us in the past when we were younger, and then how it's expressed as adults, right? I find that as a lot of millennials have issues like fully committing to something. It could be small, it could
Yeah.
be medium, it could be large, right? So in the book, I talked about when I was a child, I was very sheltered. I didn't really get to go anywhere and get to a party. That wasn't really me. But as soon as I turned 18, get my car, I was everywhere. All the parties, every lime. I was just thirsty for it because I wasn't able to do it when I was younger. But as I
Mm.
started going out, I felt like there was this real issue of like committing to go to one place because there were all these other options. So it's like, if I commit to this, I'm losing out with this. So, we call it FOMO, the fear of missing out. We were feeling that
Yeah.
as when we were growing up. Fast forward to adulthood now, and you have all these responsibilities. Not only that, you have choice. You have the choice to choose what your life is going to be like. You choose which door to open and what direction your life is going to be steered at. Now, that can be scary. Not only that, it can be
Yeah.
hard to. Now, when you open door A, what a lot of people do is they will open door A, put one foot in door A, put another foot in door B, put a hand in door C, right? And it's like, all right, I have all these pathways. I'm going to try my best to do it all. But by not fully committing to, let's say, one sole decision, giving it your all, you're actually robbing yourself from being successful in it.
Mhm.
Right? You spread yourself thin in all these different directions. You're robbing
Yeah.
yourself from being able to actually get that done. I also realized from working with young people, having so many millennial clients, that some people think they're committing, but it's not. It's weak. It's not full. It's they're still halfway in. I can give you a really good example. When when I wrote the manuscript for my book, that was last year, October, I had a choice to make. The choice was, do I want to fully commit to this book, as in like get money, invest fully, do it as though it was my all, or do I want to just try to get things done for free, push it in different ways? And I said, you know what? this is me. I birthed this. I put my everything into this. I'm gonna give it 100% of me,
Yes.
150% for a matter of fact. So much so I took out a loan just to finance everything. I met with so many different experts with marketing, PR, operational, with the launch event and all these different things. And I went 100% in. And what I found was that there's a threshold that you cross that I never crossed before. When I crossed that threshold, the immediate emotion was fear. It was like, wow, this is real.
Really.
And I can tell you when I signed the papers to get the money for that loan. And I said, wow, yeah, I can't go back. This is real now. I actually have to perform. I have to get these results. And as soon as that fear and that anxiety passed, it was a different realm of activity. It was like, wow, this is do or die. There was no question about putting my best foot forward. It was just my best foot forward every single day. And you can only really get those true results when you commit on that level. Because me, we would not be here right now talking about, me and my book if I hadn't committed to that level. I would have just been maybe 100 books sold, maybe my family, my friends bought it. And that's the difference. But people can't see that because they think they're giving it all, but they're not. There's a layer, there's a level past that. And once you cross that, the sky is the limit. But you have to decide that you're gonna do it. And then once you're in it, commit fully and never look back. And that is a game changer.
Exactly. Awesome. Awesome. I'm seeing where the Kush Queen is saying millennials are fearful of failure because it is perceived, especially by all the generations, that the boomers, the baby boomers, that we have all the resources for, for acceleration compared to what they had. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that fear failure thing is really, it's intertwined in our DNA, and you can't blame us.
Yes.
When we go to school, we're doing assignments, we're preparing for exams, and we are prepped in a way where, you had to get 100%. Anything less
Yes.
than that, you're not doing well, right? Every single mistake is highlighted. It's like, no, you need perfection. Now, I don't want to knock schools too much, but if you look at it in a practical way, that's not real world. That's not the real world. When you become an adult and you start working and you're out of college and you have these responsibilities,
Yes.
you understand that it's not about perfection. You have to make mistakes because the mistakes now help you get better. So we condition in this way in school where we have to be perfect. Then we enter into the world of work and we enter into this real world and we realize that we're making a lot of mistakes. And mentally that can mess with a lot of us because we now went the majority of our life thinking that, okay, I have to be perfect, and I've been working towards that. And now I'm in a new job and I'm not perfect. I'm making a lot of mistakes. And because we weren't trained to now say, okay, I made a mistake, let me work on doing better, right? Not focus on the negative. It can hold a lot of us back. And the generations above us, again, they had a whole different experience growing up. They had a whole different experience in the world. They have all the experience, right? So I can't blame them again for not understanding.
Exactly.
But there's a point where there needs to be compromise, there needs to be understanding, there needs to be empathy of, hey, we were created by you, right? We are this way because you wanted it, you built an environment that created us to be this way. So it can't be done the way that you are used to it being done because your way will not work for us and our way won't work for you. So we must now find that compromise where there's a middle ground of, okay, you have the experience, you have the wisdom, we have the innovation, we have the technology. Let's find a way to now bridge that gap. But you'll find that there'll always be turbulence when it comes with one generation starting to overtake another one, right? I had a really funny conversation with a friend before this where, I was talking about, it's so funny that when I was working, I had a real issue with me having to come to work 8 to 4 to do something that I can do in the comfort of my house. right? You're making me come, making me pay travel money, you're making me buy food, you're making me sit in this uncomfortable chair to do something that I can do at home, right? And your excuse for this is that we can't measure you doing it. We can't, there's not the proper infrastructure for you to do that at home. Yet, COVID-19 hit. And now all these jobs that were perceived that they could not have flexible times, they couldn't work from home, that all disappeared. Now all of a sudden
Exactly.
you can work from home, you can measure these things. And I'm just thinking to myself, they fought us. Here we are.
Exactly.
Where is the conversation? Where was the fight back? It was impossible then. It's happening now. And it's showing you the advent of what's to come. Times are changing.
Exactly.
Right?
Awesome. Awesome.
Anyway, just sped it up. But go ahead.
Yes. Yes. Great. Awesome. I just love the conversation. And so you wrote your book, The Millennial Mind. Why you wrote that book in the first place? Tell us about that.
So I wrote the book because just one day I was sitting down and I'm thinking about the conversations I have with clients, the majority of them being millennials, and I'm just thinking to myself, their behaviors are all different. They're expressing some negative core value in a negative behavior, right? And all the behaviors were different, but all the core issues were all the same. Poor time management, not understanding what their purpose was, not really thinking in the long term, lack of patience, this instant gratification. And I'm seeing there must be a better way for me to reach people, because yes, the one-on-ones work, but I want to be able to help more people in a way that's more accessible. And then I got the light bulb of, well, write a book. But me, Daniel Francis, I was no big English writer. Let me tell you, English was not one of my best subjects. In college, I struggled with writing research papers and all these essays. I struggled. I'm not gonna lie. But I knew that if I put my mind to something, nothing's gonna stop me from achieving it. I know how to set goals, I know how to stick to my habits, and the information is out there. I must be able to figure this out. And that led me to know, okay, well, this book is happening. And again, in true millennial fashion, I came up with some names. I had the Millennial Mind and I had Adulting 101. And I just went to social media and I was like, hey guys, these are the names. I think I want to write a book. Did a little poll. Millennial Mind won 100% or 0%. And I just laughed. And then I put up another post with the chapter names that I had, some rough draft chapter. And I was likes and replies, and I was like, yo, that chapter, you didn't write it yet, but it's speaking to me. And I said, yo, this has to happen, right? As much as I am a planner and work towards executing, I also look at the signs, the different signs that I think what I'm doing is working. One of those major signs was that one of my clients, he owns a publishing company. And I just happened to see this man the day after I had the names and chapters, and we just had a conversation. He's like, yeah, I think about writing a book. He's like, what's the name? I was like, The Millennial Mind. He's like, wow, you have to write that. And he latched on, and he was like, he was injecting all this motivation of, you have to do that. That is an amazing name. It must be written. And that was just one of those signs that was just like, yeah, this is pushing me in a particular direction. And lo and behold, a month later, we have a whole book being written by someone who is not necessarily an expert at writing, but it just goes to show that you find the experts, you get the knowledge, you work together to now create a plan. You work steadily towards the plan, and you have God, you have a luck, anything is possible.
And right? Get preparations, yes.
I'm a big prepper.
Oh boy, I tell you. Listen, I'm loving the conversation, and it goes to show that once you put your mind to it, you can be successful. And so for all those who are listening or watching tonight, on the internet, Facebook or YouTube, we want to let you know that you can do it. It is possible. Just, look at your circle, evaluate yourself. I see earlier on, Simone spoke about a daily self-evaluation. I think that's also very important to self-development as well. look at where you are, where you want to be constantly, never settle. And I think that's what a lot of us millennials fall back to. We easily settle
Oh,
for the
yeah.
periphery
Oh,
and for
yeah.
what we can see. But as you said, build out your career, build out that plan for the next 5, 6, 7 years from now. And I
Mhm.
think we will definitely go places.
Yeah.
So somebody who is struggling now, who's all over the place, because we're millennials, we know how to be all over the place than anybody else. um, what would you say to that person who is listening now, or tomorrow will come across this video? They're struggling. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to get their life in order.
Mhm.
What would you say to that person?
Now, my first suggestion is always find a coach. Let somebody who's learned in this, whose job this is to help guide you, because again, it's hard to say. It might be something specific that they can just spot one time and then give you that key advice that could change your life. But when it comes to the struggle bus, as we call it,
Mhm.
it always tends to be tied towards your time management, your purpose, and your goal setting. Those are the three main ones. So
Mhm.
if you don't know what you're about, you don't know what your purpose is, start asking those questions
Yeah,
about what I'm passionate about, what are the things that excite me, what could I do every single day and not be
yeah,
bored with. Answer those questions and then build from that. When it comes to time
yeah,
management, there's so many different techniques, but what it really just comes down to is every single day ask yourself, what are the three most important things that I need to get done today? And do them. That's
yeah.
it. If you could do that before lunchtime, then every single day you will be successful. As simple as that. Because simple thing as most of us might do one of our most important things for the day. If you get three of those
And
done,
some none.
that's huge. It's huge. It's literally huge.
Yes, yeah,
And
yeah,
then when we talk about three, that goal setting, we need to know why we're doing what we're doing. We need to have that plan. We need to have those goals for the short term. We need to have those goals for the long term. I think one of the best things that you can do is when you are looking at what you're most passionate about or what your purpose is. Let's say you come up and you say that I want to be a singer, right? Now, the world we're in is amazing, where you have access to all types of information on persons. If you know that
yeah,
you want to be a singer, start researching people who sing in the ways that you love, and then reach out to these people. You get
mm,
one mentor, two mentors, three mentors who are doing the things that you want to do, and they say yes, I will mentor you. Your life can
yeah,
change, and I'm not talking about in an instant, but that's one of those situations where it can be instant, where it is from this point on, it's just moving in an upward trajectory because you have the
mm,
air of someone who's where you want to be. That is invaluable, right? So
mm,
that can take you from that struggle, that anxiety, that feeling of failure or not being where you want to be, to start the little, the small upward step movements towards getting to that point. Because you find, especially with millennials, we're not really about, I don't want to say broadly, yeah, yes, we want to make our money, but we want to feel like what we are doing is impacting in
yes,
a
it's impactful.
way. It's
Yeah,
impactful. We don't want to just
yeah,
feel like we're doing and if we left, it wouldn't change anything. We want to know that we're making an impact. So
yeah.
if you know, especially that you're that type of person, find out what it is that impact you want to make and make sure that you get it done. We again,
Awesome.
it's so tricky because we get easily distracted by social media. Is everything shiny? It's just in our face. But once you clear that out and you start to look within and start looking at what you want, you can never go back from that because you'll always be aware of it. You'll always be aware of the things that you want, and it just be like in the back of your brain, kind of saying, "Hey, you know you want this. Why are you pretending as though you're not hearing me?" And that's what you want
Yeah.
to help you forward.
The Kush Queen is asking, what's your major?
Oh boy, very unrelated.
Personal one day.
So when I actually went to school abroad in New Orleans, I went to a school in New Orleans called Loyola University, and I did
Yes.
biology, and I did all the prerequisites to be to do medicine. And funny enough, my minor was Latin American studies, and I learned all about social justice and all these different forms of it. And those classes were the most impactful for me. It showed me that I really have a passion for people, helping people get to another point, mentoring. And that actually started this whole journey of me potentially being a coach. But I mean, I needed a 2, 3 more years to pass before it really got into me that this is the life that I want to live.
Awesome, awesome. And I also want to say that people tend to refer and say that you must get a mentor. And I've heard that it's like it's a buzzword. Get a mentor, 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 which is good. But sometimes your mentor does not necessarily have to be someone who is going to be by your side 9 to 5. It
Mm-hmm.
can be somebody whenever you need advice,
Yeah.
you can call that person
Yeah.
as well. I feel that sometimes we get hung up on the fact that a mentor needs to be so committed to me and me only, but usually they are successful people.
Yeah.
And like for me, I can say I have mentors, and my mentors are people who I would call and say, hey, what do you think?
Mm.
I'm going to do this. And we need to explore that option as well, because I think a lot of times, and I read something on LinkedIn today that talks about always inviting opposing views, people
Definitely.
who would oppose your idea, as a young person,
Yeah.
get those opposing views and then build out from that. Go ahead.
Definitely. Because I mean, even with my mentor, one of them, I see him like once a month. We have a conversation once a month. I don't talk to him every day. I don't. You don't need that. You just
Exactly.
want that guiding hand, especially that person to make sure that you said you're gonna do certain things, and then when you chat with them a month later, that you actually got them done. You want that.
Exactly.
And what's cool,
Exactly. An accountability partner.
for sure, for sure. And something interesting you said there, when I was building up my team for my book campaign, because it was a team, it was not just me. In no way. I had a team definitely helping me. I had all types of different personalities. So when I say pitched an idea in the group, I was getting feedback from everybody because they were persons who were completely different to me on a whole different spectrum. They
Mhm.
approached in ways that just helped morph the idea into something that I would have never perceived by myself. And
Exactly.
you need that in your life. You need that kind of feedback, because if you are only ever operating on one wavelength and the persons around you on that similar wavelength, you're never gonna know
Yeah.
what's outside of that. So you need those
Yeah.
persons who think differently from you.
Yeah. Awesome. And I see the Kush Queen, we're almost out of time, but asking, do we really need a mentor though? I think so. I
I
think so. And maybe not exactly, maybe not quote unquote somebody who says, you need to get up in the morning, you need to wash your face, brush your teeth, and go have breakfast. We're not talking about that type of a mentor, you know, but somebody who you can refer to, an accountability partner, so to
yeah.
speak.
I mean, think about it.
Somebody.
If it is you want a simple thing like you want to be a manager in your organization, wouldn't you want to have someone in the organization who's a manager who you tell you want to be a manager eventually, and they take you under their wing? They don't necessarily have to be there for you day to day, but they're telling you the things
Exactly.
that you should be doing because they've
Yeah.
been there. So maybe you should get a particular master's degree. Maybe you should be doing particular projects. Maybe you should have in conversations with certain persons. That can only help
Yeah.
you get to point B.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yes. Awesome. 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 So finally, what would you say, your last words? We have about a minute remaining. I'm not sure where the time has gone, but time waits on no man and it moves rather quickly. um, Tell us about where people can find you. Tell us about anything you want to say regarding your book, where they can find it, where they can purchase it, etc.
Right. So you can purchase the book on Amazon. Just have to search The Millennial Mind. You can't miss it. Big brain, all these emojis. Um, and I will be actually printing it in Jamaica, hopefully by October, November, just in time for
Okay,
Christmas.
awesome.
So I'll put out all that information. And of course, you can follow me. I'm on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can search Daniel Francis, or you can search Rebit Limited. That's REBIT Limited. So that's the company I work under.
Awesome, awesome. So the Kush Queen is saying, what would you say to the person that does not have one, have a mentor? We would say, get one.
I feel like you're really fighting this mental thing, but again, you gotta commit to getting it done.
Exactly, exactly. And I think it also goes into who we are as a person. Like for me, I'm an entrepreneur. And there are times when I have to step back and listen because I'm not what do you call it, a jack of all trades. So there are some areas and some things that I don't like doing, and I
Yeah,
don't do them well.
yeah,
So you have to step back and allow that person, with the expertise, with the knowledge, to come and navigate you through that rough waters. And I think that's
definitely,
where you would need one.
definitely, definitely. Again, as you say, you are not gonna be perfect at everything, and why not get that guidance of somebody? Think about the wealth of knowledge and experience they have because they are where you want to be. They know everything you need to do. I, I chased on that person. I want to know exactly how to do it, and I'm gonna add my own spin to it, and I'm gonna work my butt off to get there. You don't want to take that away from yourself, you know?
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been HR Conversations, and we were actually talking to Daniel Francis out of Trinidad. He is a personal development coach and author of The Millennial Mind. You can get his book on Amazon. You can follow him on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Again, the Kushpini is saying, time flies when you're having fun. Thanks very that's very man of you to admit that. Big up, Andrew. Okay, listen, Danny and Mr. Francis, it has been a pleasure. I'm sure the book will do well here in Jamaica. So we really want to thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. This has been HR
Yeah.
Conversation. Thank you.